This is a very urgent warning on Palantir, SoFi, Tesla, Nvidia, and the general market. Where we're going to go next. What's August going to look like for the next 2 weeks? What's September going to look like? We got a lot to talk about with some brand new insights. And right now, investors are making a ton of money. And if you want to continue to make a ton of money, you need to be on the side of technicals and understand what the Fed's going to do. So we're going to talk about all of that. Let's just first of all jump into Palantir stock. This stock has had very good performance over the past 1 month, 19%. This is one of the top holdings that I personally have, and it's had a massive market cap surge. Palantir has surpassed IBM. Fun fact, I used to work there for a little bit as a consultant. They surpassed Cisco, and right now the company's trading for like $420 billion. $420 billion. You know how much money has been made in like the past 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years on Palantir? So many people have gotten rich. And the PE ratio, we also need to talk about that in just a second. But look, the market cap right now, it's going to essentially make Palantir a top 15 company and a top 10 company in the world pretty soon, fairly soon, maybe in a year or two, in the world, which is insane. This is a company that I bought at IPO, which is now becoming top 10, okay? That's for good reason. In terms of valuation, like I said, the PE ratio, 590, a lot of new investors or more noob investors that are new to the market, they're like, well, I'm scared, this is really high. That's not really an issue. The PE ratio is always high for high growth companies. You can see here how it's gonna go from 590 down to 577. So we're gonna get a half in the valuation, the forward PE ratio. Now, the forward PE ratio is essentially estimates 1 year from now. If they happen, what will the new PE ratio be if the stock stays the same, right? So let's say in 1 year, earnings will more than double. That's why the PE ratio will more than half, okay? That's how that works. So the valuation, although some people are saying it's stretched and there's a huge issue, it's really not an issue. Not an issue at all. And many companies like Amazon and Tesla were like in the thousands, okay? So that's fine. Personally, I see a lot of growth for Palantir stock. I really think, I'm going to revise my price target right now. You ready for it? My revised price target, right before, I think my last video, it was like last week, I did another deep dive into Palantir, and I think we're going to be at $250 per share in 2026, and I'm going to go up by a lot from raising my price target from 200 to 250. All right, we still have a lot of room to go, and I think 250 can definitely happen if we're in a bull year, right? If 2026 we don't have like a big bull market, then of course, we're going to fall short of 250. So, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't predict the future. This is just Henry giving you some opinions on the internet, right? So I am personally revising my price target to 250. And a lot of that is because commercial revenue is growing faster than government contracts for the first time. So we're seeing that momentum really come in. And that's how you know this isn't just really a defense company anymore. It's really becoming the AI operating system for the private sector. So Palantir, the commercial revenue is very, very key in terms of helping the valuation, because government contracts are great, but when you have like the synchrony of two, then this is what really drives the value of Palantir to that $1 trillion, eventually $1 trillion valuation. And there's actually been 24 large cap stocks that have more than doubled this year. Can you imagine? Large cap companies that have more than doubled. Okay, there's been 24 of them. So if you're properly doing your research and you have the right research, the right stock picking skills, then more than doubling your money is insane. It's insane. Like imagine you start off 300K in the year and now you're at 600K. That's the formula to retire. That's way more, obviously. $300,000 can be way more than many jobs are paying, right? So the stock market is a great way to build wealth. It's been a great way for like 100 years, right? So when I look at the 24 large cap stocks that have more than doubled this year, I really believe that Palantir can be a stock that can double again. It can double again. You look at Palantir software. They collect dispersed data sets from an organization and external sources, and they clean them. This is incredibly valuable. Can't even explain how valuable this is. When I was in college, I studied data analytics as one of the other degrees that I have. I have finance, economics, data analytics. I studied data analytics. This was maybe like 10 years ago at this point, because I saw the writing on the wall that data is the driving factor that companies can make better business decisions, okay, with data. Amazon knows what you're going to order before you even order it. Palantir knows how to empower employees to make data-driven decisions without having the ability to code, right? So this is why Palantir software is so strong. Once they're in, and the software collects dispersed data, which means like it's data from all over the place within an organization, and it cleans that data, identifies connections, and provides valuable insights that aid decision makers in their role. So while cloud computing providers might offer their own analytics tools, Palantir's machine learning algorithms have proven extremely valuable, especially for customers with data spread across various sources. Data can be very hard to get, and Palantir not only helps analyze the data, it helps gather the data, which is incredibly important, which is why Palantir isn't just really advancing AI, it's really democratizing it, right? It's a hard word for me to mention. I was born in the U.S., raised, but I live in Eastern Europe right now, and I love that culture. So I love living out in Eastern Europe and being able to travel, guys. I've been to Estonia, Poland. I've been all over Eastern Europe. I've been in Dubai. It's great. Trading and building wealth gives you freedom, all right? So I really enjoy that. That's why you see me oftentimes in hotels. I've been traveling full-time. Before I have a family, I'm going to travel. So Palantir is helping democratize data, right? So most enterprise platforms still gate AI behind technical teams, but with Palantir's AIP, Palantir really hands over the keys to the business operators, and they say, no, guys, look, you can analyze the data yourself. So now anyone in the front lines can really interact with powerful models using plain language, right? No need to code. And this is what real enterprise AI adoption looks like when every single employee can leverage data, right? They can leverage it, whether they're from the very bottom of the barrel to the very top CEO, right? They can use AI. So guys, I don't know what to say. Bicep over tricep, just buy Palantir, literally bicep over tricep, okay? We making gains, we're making money. We're making a heck of a lot of money. So I'm very proud specifically of my Discord community. We've been absolutely killing it. We've been making a lot of money, growing our wealth, and I think it's just great. Simply said, making a lot of money. Cash flow, premiums from options, and just capital appreciation. Lots of growth. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the general market. Okay, QQQ. So analysts say that despite hitting its 18th record high of 2025, right? We have 18th record high this year. The NASDAQ, or QQQ, which I'm looking at investing in and continuing to dollar cost average, the NASDAQ now looks overvalued, trading at over 28 times forward earnings. Remember that number I was telling you about Palantir, not today's earnings, forward earnings. So it's kind of a big deal to see 28 times forward earnings, which is basically at 2022 record high valuations. So analysts are warning of an AI-fueled bubble with NVIDIA and other big names really heavily skewing performance, which is true. But also at the same time, you know what else is true? Analysts, they don't really understand how to properly predict the market. They're analysts. They have $150,000 salary. I'm not mocking anyone that makes $150,000. That's good money. But I'm just saying, these guys, these analysts, they're wrong all the time. They're wrong as much as they're right. It's literally 50-50. It's like flip a coin. An analyst says, oh, I think the stock's going to go up. Well, there's no point of even paying attention to what the analyst thinks. So just because someone gets paid and they're so-called expert, okay, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter at all. The market is already rigged, very unpredictable, and very random. So I don't personally believe in analysts. I don't believe in YouTubers. I only believe experience and results. That's the only thing I believe in, experience and results. So that's why I show my portfolio. That's why I'm transparent. I've had good results. That's all that matters. I have a degree, which is very unique, but that doesn't even matter. Only matters is results. At Goldman Sachs, when I was working there, believe me, the clients just wanted results, okay? So the most important thing to look out for right now is I do believe that we're not necessarily cheap, but I do believe we're gonna go up in value because of AI growth, productivity, and honestly, AI is the fourth industrial revolution. So that's the main reason I think the market will continue to go up. And also, look at the Fed. What's going to happen in September? They're most likely going to cut rates, and that's going to send stocks even higher, okay? If they cut rates, which they almost certainly are, then the stock market is going to go up, and we're going to get an increase in stock valuation because all those future cash flows will be discounted to today, and that's just Yeah, that's just more valuable. So yeah, looking at the portfolio, I'm very excited to continue to grow this. I think a lot of my students are growing from 6 figures now to 7 and beyond, right? A lot of people started off with a 100K account with me this year. Now we're at like quarter mil, 300K. So it's been amazing. Now I want to talk about SoFi. I'm going to show you the SoFi chart. I want to talk about SoFi because this is a company that I've been covering for a long time. I think this is a company that can make investors a ton of money. It has already proven to do so. I said 30 billion, man, and look at that. Oh man, this is great. I said 30 billion when the stock was at 14 billion. It was at 14 billion. I said, we're gonna get to 30. Mark my words, we're gonna get to 30 billion, and now we're just 1.5 billion short. We're only less than 10%. We're less than 10% from the big numbers that I was talking about. So I'm kind of jumping out of my seat a little bit of how excited I really am. I'm jumping out of my seat on SoFi. And I think the most important thing that you got to be aware of, let me explain it to you simply, all right? It is called the upsell model. Upsell model looks like this. I've already mentioned it, but let me give you kind of a unique twist. Upsell model means you get someone in the door. Someone comes in the door. Maybe they want an oil change, and then they leave the auto body shop with a new car, right? That's insane, right? That's a whole crazy upsell. But it's simply said, someone comes in for product A, and then they come out or they end up adopting product A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's more products, okay? And SoFi is exceptional at doing that. They have cracked the code. They have found the cheat code from taking someone from point A, come in the door, maybe you get a loan, maybe you come in with an APY product, which is basically like, just deposit money. And then you have all kinds of things that you adopt, right? So SoFi, they are incredibly good at that. And okay, let's move on from the upsell model. I've already talked about that enough. I want to talk about one of the concerns that investors had, which is SoFi issued a lot of convertible notes, right? So we had a little bit of a pullback, and I told investors this is the opportunity. This is the opportunity to go ahead, go in, bicep over tricep, hand over fist, guys. Because when you see a pullback in a high quality stock, because some people are getting emotional, some investors are dummies. They're dummies. They're like, oh, the company's raising money. Oh, I'm scared. I don't want random dilution. I don't want to be diluted as a shareholder. But they fail to understand that raising capital when a company has higher valuation is a net positive. They're almost in a way ripping investors off and profiting themselves by raising capital at a high valuation. So it honestly makes all the sense in the world as long as the company doesn't misuse and mismanage funds, because dilution does hurt investors when companies make dumb decisions or bad investments, but that's far from the case. SoFi is really using this cash to fuel more of their aggressive marketing. And marketing is the lifeblood of a business. So when a business has amazing marketing and it brings customers in the door, there is future value there because a customer comes in and maybe they don't spend a lot of money right now, right? So for example, let's say Robinhood. check it out with Robinhood. I was a Robinhood user like years and years ago. I was there, I don't know, like whenever it started. I think it was 2015 or 2016. It was back in college, right? So I started with $2,000, and look, I didn't have Robinhood Gold, so Robinhood wasn't making that much money off me. And now look at the portfolio, it's at over $4 million, and I have Robinhood Gold. Sometimes I do a little bit of sports betting. I've been betting a little bit on tennis. I like tennis, so I bet on what was the Wimbledon final. I think it was, no, I didn't bet on I bet on the semifinal because the final was Alcaraz and Sinner. But anyways, I've been betting a little bit there, and they made a lot of money off me. The fees are pretty big on sports betting. I've been getting into a little bit of crypto, so I've been telling my members, hey, we're going to jump into some crypto. My crypto's right here, so let's go to my total return. So I made $18,000 on Ethereum. I had a really good bet on Ethereum. I got a little bit of Bitcoin, not that much. and then I've been using USDC as a payment method as well, a little bit of Solana. So Robinhood, talking about LTV, the reason I'm talking about Robinhood is because when a customer comes in and then you grow the relationship with them, you do end up making a lot of money as a company. So like Robinhood disproportionately benefited off of me because I have such a large account where I do spend a lot of money. I borrowed money as well. I paid interest, and I've also obviously I use Robinhood in my YouTube videos, so I probably made Robinhood like millions of dollars, and I've never gotten paid for that, but it is what it is. So anyways, SoFi, I'm very bullish on that. Let's go over to Tesla. Tesla as a company, you know, man, Tesla's a bit hard of a company because I've had it for years. I had it since 2021. I got rich on Tesla, but right now we're getting a lot of sideways action on the 1 month chart. We're at 6%. I don't think we're going to get any breakouts. I don't think we're going to get any gap fills. I don't really see any huge trajectory for Tesla. I do like Tesla long-term as a stable kind of position in the portfolio. They just killed their $1 billion Dojo supercomputer project. Not really because it failed, but more so because they're doubling down on partnerships with Samsung, NVIDIA, AMD to speed up AI and robotaxi development. And this, by the way, that should actually be seen as a major win. This is one of the biggest updates I have in this video, is Tesla killing Dojo supercomputer project is actually the biggest win for NVIDIA. You should really be excited for NVIDIA, and that's the next stock I'll talk about. You should be very excited because this means that Tesla will likely, almost certainly, be a long-term customer and remain a long-term customer to NVIDIA as it uses outsourced chips to scale its robotaxi and robotics services. They wanted to build in-house and they realized, you know, it's kind of no joke. We got better things to do. So, yeah, they're going to focus on their competitive strength and they're going to leave the NVIDIA to their competitive strength. So I'm very bullish on NVIDIA. I'm very excited for that. And look, guys, robotaxis are coming. Testing is expanding in Texas. And once they go commercial, this could be Tesla's biggest money printer since the Model 3 launch. Literally, you can get the money printer out. We're about to go like this. We're about to go like that. We're about to go, you know, boom, 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 boom. We're about to get, you know, some crazy amounts of money coming in the door. We got a whole pile of money coming for Tesla. And that's great. A lot of that is already priced in, so I want you to be aware of that a lot of it is priced in. So I'm a little bit mixed. I'm neutral on Tesla because of that, plus EV competition is heating up. I'm in Eastern Europe right now, you know, and I see a lot of Chinese vehicles. I see a lot of Chinese vehicles. I was in the Hongqi car. I didn't research it much, but I was in Li Auto, BYD. I see a lot of Chinese cars. There's a lot of them. So competition's fierce, competition's hot. So I would stay a little bit neutral, but obviously options selling is really good on Tesla. There's a lot of volatility, so option selling is good. Now let's move over into NVIDIA stock. NVIDIA, and by the way, to wrap up Tesla, I think 330 is about what it's worth. So we're probably gonna get some sideways action. So selling options is the way to go. Let's talk about NVIDIA. This stock has rocketed. We're about to hit $5 trillion in market cap. I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you, do not sleep on NVIDIA. This company's valuation forward PE ratio is very reasonable, extremely reasonable. It's cheaper than the NASDAQ, okay? Because it's actually freaking cheaper, it makes a lot of sense to be invested in. You're crazy if you don't have NVIDIA. I'm telling you, you're out of your mind. Look at data center revenue. It's very strong. Automotive, strong. Healthcare portion is strong. And it's the AI infrastructure. It really is. It's all you got to be invested in. Honestly, I kind of think that you can just have SPY, 50% of your portfolio, NVIDIA 50% of your portfolio, and you will dominate. You will dominate in your returns over the next 10 years. So just by having NVIDIA there. So I'm pumped up for investors that are investing wisely. And NVIDIA controls a whole lot of the market. They got 90% of training compute for Gen AI. They have 80% plus of inference computing and production AI models. So NVIDIA, man, telling you, you are investing properly because NVIDIA sells the shovels in the AI gold rush. And the craziest thing is it also owns the mine. It owns the mine and it sells the shovels. So looking at forward guidance, I think we're going to come in at some really good earnings numbers when they report. I'm keeping a close eye at China. Of course, they have that little interesting deal that they just had with the U.S. government, where they can sell some of the older versions to China, but they're going to have to pay a portion of that back to U.S., which is, it is what it is. It's going to put some pressure on the margin, but overall earnings are still going to go up. So I'm very, very bullish for NVIDIA. And I'm excited for the rest of August. I think you guys are about to make a lot of money. If you want some help and guidance, I'm happy to provide it. I do have some one-on-one coaching spots, or you can just see what I'm doing on my coaching calls, how I'm trading, how I'm investing, why I'm doing that, and the explanation behind everything. So if you have a portfolio that's at least around 50K, you want to scale that, then investing in coaching is the best investment that you can make, because it scales you faster, and it's a compounding effect. You get help this year, we scale you up, and then you have knowledge for the next 10, 20, 30 years for the rest of your life. So be happy to help. Check out the first link in the description, and I'll see you in the next YouTube video.